What's going on, everybody? Adam here from BlackTop SmackTalk, coming to you live on this beautiful Monday. I'm out here in Seattle, Washington. Beautiful 90-degree day. You know, the AC's on, the fans are out. It's hot. It's hot here in Seattle, man, but beautiful day. You can't not a more beautiful place in the world than the summertime. Uh well, we got a special episode today. You guys have seen our a series when the ball stops bouncing. And I got another good one today from one of my former players from Shoreline. He played for me he was there 2 years when I was my last 2 years. He was there. He redshirted 1 year and then he played for us when we won the league championship. We got trainer and I'd call you mental health advocate. Is that fair to say?
That is fair. That
Okay,
is
so
pretty fair.
we have trainer, like a pro, he does all kinds of training. We'll get into that later. But we have trainer slash mental health advocate Dolan Tierney. D
That
Money 96. What's up, baby? How you doing?
doing good, man. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate you.
Oh, bro, man, it's always good to hear from you. I know we're tapped in all the time. I'm always checking in on you guys and making sure you're good, bro. I'm excited to get your story out, man. You've had such a unique journey to from when we were recruiting you, when I stepped foot in I think we were in Jackson High School to where you are today. And it's been about is it 2025? I think it's been 10 years. It's
It's
been about
10.
yeah,
That's 10.
yeah, it's been about 10 years. 'Cause I remember, yeah. Yeah, so I just want to get your story out there, man. But first and foremost, man, how's life? How's your summer going? How's everything?
Man, life is good. Life is good. I just been busy, been in the gym, training and staying busy, pouring into people, and the summer's been good. And I'm creeping up on 3 years of marriage now.
Yeah, that's love.
So
Congrats.
just been
Congrats.
grinding, bro. Just trying to get better. I think the blueprint is the same as when I was a player. Is just trying to get better every day.
Right.
And now it's just trying to be a better man, and just staying sharp.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely, man. I see you all the time on social media, following you through there and then, texting you on the side too, man. Well, congrats on, going on 3 years of marriage.
Thank
That's
you, man.
beautiful, man.
Thank you.
I love, like I said, love what you're doing with what you got going on in your life right now, man. You've talked to me about it from the beginning, and just to see where it's, like I said, to see where it is now, bro. It's special, and it's only continuing to evolve and get better, man. But we'll get into it, man. So, man, like we said, 10 years ago, Jackson High School, uh, senior year. Just talk about that experience, man. You definitely you played the AAU.
Yeah.
You wanted to obviously take basketball to the next level. So talk about senior year and then trying to figure out what the next phase is or next phase for you was.
Yeah. So, man, my high school career was super unique. I always played high level basketball, but I didn't see varsity until my senior year. We were Me and a handful of other players that were in my class. We were behind a stacked varsity program. I think they had 10, 11 seniors when I was a junior. And they were state contending, making it to state every year. And so I didn't get, varsity minutes until my senior year. So there was a lot of like expectation on, these new kids coming in. Like, is Jackson going to be as good as, in years past?
Right.
And so coming in, there was a lot of expectation, and we turned out all right. We ended up cutting down the nets that year and won districts and was one game out from state. I think we played that regional game at Everett Community College versus Issaquah, and I mean, it was it was a special year to say the least. I think we only lost like one or two league games that year,
Hmm.
which, if you saw us at the Bellevue Summer League, you would have thought that these guys were going to be trash because,
Right.
I mean, we were losing games, man. Like I remember we played, who was it? Blanchett and Derek and Cunliffe were cooking us.
Mhm. Shout out to
Lost.
Derek, your former teammate, man. Shout out to
Yeah,
Derek.
shout out Derek. Played against Cleveland. They cooked us in summer league. Like we were struggling, fighting, bickering back and forth, and then season came around and we just hit the ground running. So
Yeah. So what you got obviously aspirations. You guys had a great season. I remember pulling up to one of your games. And the game we went to was
one of the
I forgot
games that we lost.
right, and I forget who it was against.
Snohomish. It was against Snohomish. It was at Snohomish.
Okay,
And we lost by like 21, 22.
right, and I remember you not like you struggled. You had fouled out and stuff,
Oh, I
and
got in foul trouble. I think I didn't even play the fourth quarter. And you guys pulled up and were supporting, recruiting.
yeah, those things happen, man. So
Yeah.
we saw something in you that we were like, man,
Hmm.
there's something there. We could tell just the way you carried
Hmm.
yourself, just how you kind of approach the game, and we can tell the feel. You can always tell feel, and you can just see it. And you had something, so it was just one of them things where it was like, man, let's try and get him out to an open gym. But since you're Jackson, that's up north, in the Everett
Mill
area.
Creek.
Mill
Mill
Creek. I'm
Creek.
sorry. I'm
Yes,
thinking
sir.
Everett. Yeah, my bad, my bad, my bad. Yeah, my north end spots mixed up. But
Yeah.
yeah, Mill Creek. Were any other schools like were you looking at any other schools like lower like kind of like D3, or was there any other NWAC schools or schools looking at you?
Yeah. And, funny enough, I ended up having a few D3 schools from Minnesota that
Mhm.
were recruiting me out of high school.
Okay.
And I was like, nah, like I'm not going to Minnesota
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not doing that. And then I was even talking to some schools in the NWAC and it was crickets. Like Everett was like, nah, we got Brevin. Brevin's my guy. He played at Cascade, tore it up that year. I think he averaged like 17. But they had him coming in and you guys were the only school that like really gave me a chance. So
Right. Okay. Yeah, so you ended up playing for us. You were at Shoreline for 3 years.
yeah,
Okay, so
redshirted that first year.
yeah.
That was a stacked team. Kind of had some pieces, but yeah, I think I was like the one of two red shirts that was allowed to, because Brady had that rule where he was like, not all my red shirts could practice. I was like the one of like, I think we had like six or seven red shirts,
We're
and then
like
you know how
you
JUCO goes,
It was
like
like you and
attrition.
Dana, Dana, and I think CJ. I think you guys were the three
Mhm.
that practiced with us the most that year.
Yeah, 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 yeah. That
Yeah.
is, that is.
So talk about, for those that, for people that know you or, people you train or people you follow or that follow you, talk about like what goes into like a redshirt year because everyone's experience is different. Obviously, at the community college level, it's going to be different from like a national JC, D3, D2, obviously D1. So, NAIA. So, talk to us about what it looked like for you as a red shirt. On such a, we were competitive. We struggled with injuries that year. I think we were 2 or 3 games out. I mean, we were solid, but we just got hit with the injury bug tough,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
so just talk about like what went into a redshirt year for you.
Man, that was a big like growth year for me personally just cuz like going from high school to JUCO and it was like we had some like players too. It wasn't like low level JUCO ball, but it was an adjustment. I
Mhm.
think it was more of like a mental hurdle that I had to get over of like one, knowing my role and trusting my process, and then just being ready. I think that those are like the three things that I really like honed in on that year. Because coming in, like I had a great setup with, rest in peace Ben, but Ben was the point guard that first year I was there, and he had a tremendous like leadership quality. So I had a lot of like good people to be around and to learn from, and I mean, from like a day to day, I just remember, um, shout out Marshall. We would go and I was a lunatic, bro. We would go to UW at 6 a.m. and get work in at UW because you could sneak through one of the side
Yeah,
doors
yeah, yeah,
and get into Heck Ed. And so we would go get shots up just to like, um, because that was the goal, right? Like you want to go D1. So like waking up early and getting shots up and kind of dreaming and just like continuing to keep myself like in a positive mindset, because I know I'm not playing one lick you know, of hoop on the court during a game. So then go to Shoreline. I probably had like a 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. class or something. And then after I'm getting more shots up and then maybe get a lift in and then practice was at like 2. So it was just like loading up the schedule of like I need to do more than everybody's doing. I need to be first one there, last one to leave. Like just checking all the boxes that,
yeah,
people are like, oh, you're weird for doing that, or like I made it a statement to bring my ball everywhere I went, like whether I was in the coach's office, in the classroom, in between, like I wanted to be uh a professional and like
yeah.
how I approached it. So um but it was a lot of hurdles, man. Like a redshirt year, like you're putting in a lot of work, you're doing double and you're not seeing the floor at all. So it's like it really forced me to just like one, know my process and then just trust it and just like have faith that something's coming from this.
Yeah, definitely, man. So, you had the redshirt year, and and the one thing about you, man, you was gonna put in the work, no matter what. Anything we asked of you, you were gonna do. Anything me, Brady, or Tone, anything we asked you, and OG, anything we asked you do. Just because
For sure.
that was part of your MO, man. It's just be one of the hardest workers, on the squad. But then you come into the next year, and we revamped the team a little bit. We reloaded, and we had a solid 12 that could play, that could get on the court. Well, you know how it goes. Unfortunately, it was tough, man, because we were trying to put Shoreline back on the map to one of the prominent schools, and we were getting there. So we got Dana, you know, Drew, Dooley.
Dooley,
Yeah. Oh yeah, Dooley was the
Perk.
one who redshirted with you. Yeah. Dooley. Then we had Ben, Derek, Joe G all returning, man. Then we had Big Will, Perk, CJ, Hafid, man, Big Brady, Yusuf, man. We had such a nice squad. So talk about that year, in the sense of like, how did you grow going against your guards are Ben, Derek, and Dooley, Andrew. So you went against them every day. And talk about that and just what it was a crazy anyone I talked to CJ, all the guys I've had on the pod and everyone I talked to like off camera and everything, man. It was such a crazy year, man. So much stuff was happening, but we really made history. So man, just talk about that year in a nutshell, man.
Man, it was so cool to be able to show up every day at practice and know that like you're going against some of the best guys in the league. Like I think that was um the biggest thing that I looked forward to. Like I knew that every day I showed up to practice that I was gonna have to like, really challenge, the guards like Derek and picking up full court, just like trying to like just be gritty, and like set the tone for like, because we all, in our minds, we were going for, an NWAC championship. That was what we had our eyes set on. And so like every day was like, let's push the limits today, like let's see what you got, and I think because we had so many guys that could play, um, there was like that competitive edge of like, yo, if you slip up, like, like
Yeah.
you got some guys behind you that are ready, and so, but man, it was just such a special year. I think the year was cut a little bit short, with losing in the first round of the playoffs, but I mean, we cut down the nets and put a banner in that gym, and
Yeah.
um, yeah, man, it was just special. Like, and it was cool to have that competitive, side of it. But
Right.
then also like everybody knew like we got each other's back too, like showing up and Dana's super supportive, Dooley's super supportive, like Torrance,
Your team.
Torrance was always
Yeah.
just crazy supportive um and I mean I didn't even really play for real, but like I remember one story. I would my mindset. I was a shooter. So going into practice, it's like I'm not missing today. Like, you know what I mean? Like I would just come in and just, you talk yourself into this zone where it's like I probably won't miss a shot today. Like and I had one of those weeks where I couldn't miss and I remember there was one shot I passed up and I kicked it to Dana or somebody, and Brady stops practice and just just started ripping on me, man. Like, you haven't missed in 3 weeks. Like, what are you doing passing up a shot, And so just kind of put things in a perspective of like, yo, like, I'm not on the court, but I hold value, like
Yeah.
I'm not starting, but like I have a role to play, and I think there's a ton of like value to, learn from that lesson, whether you're a young kid growing up or you're high school or, college player, like no matter where you are on that depth chart, like you got to know like what value you bring and your role and you got to be the best at it.
Right. Not for sure, man. And you were an intricate part of our team, man. You made guys better, and you when you did get minutes, you did your best. And
Clip season. Yep.
I know it's like weren't the minutes you wanted, but it's like the inconsistent. But
Yeah.
you
But
know,
like I knew when I got on the floor, it was like let it fly. Like and that's the best mental spot to be in. And I tell all the players like that I work with, like if you have a coach that's behind you that like wants you to just like be the best at what you do, like there's no better feeling than like whether I'm getting 2 minutes or 20 minutes, like if I go out there and I know like it's green light, like there's no better feeling,
yeah,
you know?
oh for sure, for sure. So you was able to help us get. You were part of our. We won the North region. Unfortunately, we didn't do well in the tournament. It just happened. It's just one of those
Yeah.
games, and we just lost, and it
It
sucked,
was a
man.
close game too. It was like a close game to Mount Hood.
On Hood, yeah,
Yep.
it was back and forth, and I think we just at the end we just did not execute down the stretch, and
Yep.
not making excuses, but our best player Dana, he got a concussion,
Hmm.
and so that
Yeah.
that kind of hurt us. Drew missed a layup to tie it. With I think in winning time, under 5 minutes, I think it was around that. He wasn't sure if he wanted to bang out or if he was gonna lay it up,
Yep. Yep.
but it's just it's shit happens, bro. So it's unfortunate, but man, it's just we hold so many memories, and from that team, I think from because you were the only freshman on that team. that played the next year. From that team, I think we had out of 13 guys, I think we had 10 go to the next level.
Yeah. And
We
I
had,
remember you telling me you were like, yo, you know, are you thinking about going to the next level? Like, and I was like, 1 year of play, like I didn't even know I could do that. Like I didn't even know that was an option. But you were like, yo, like you're on a pretty good team, like you want to explore. And I was just like, man, I really wanted to. And then it was actually one of my buddies from high school, Yegor.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, he was coming to play at Shoreline, so I was like, like, let me go ahead and run it back with Yegor and see what we can do. But yeah, man, we had some pieces on that team. That 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 year when we hung up the banner, that was we had some guys, man.
It was,
From Peyton to CJ to
yeah.
Dana
Oh
to
yeah, man, I forgot about Peyton, man. My fault, Peyton. Yeah, shout out to Peyton.
yo,
I know.
Peyton was another sniper. That was my fellow sniper, like getting reps in with OG. Um Payne was a grinder. He had that chip on his shoulder
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
Um but yeah, man, that was a special year.
It was fun, man. But something unique happened. Well, not unique. I mean, things happen in life and coaching.
Hmm.
Man, your whole staff left.
Yeah.
Coach Brady got the job back at Bellevue, where he came from.
Hmm.
He had a lot of success at Shoreline. Brought the program back. When we left as champions. The North Region champions. Um,
Yeah.
you I think you and Savon were the only ones that stayed and played.
Savon.
Uh, and you played for Coach Scheme that your
Yep.
sophomore year, man. And then was that's a T Brown year, right? Terrell Brown.
Yeah, T
Yeah.
Brown.
So
Who
just
else do we have? We had some guys. It was just like just a different year. The camaraderie wasn't really there. A new coach coming in and trying to instill culture and have a feel for so many new players. Like it's a
yeah.
tough thing to do.
Oh yeah, we struggled. Our like when Brady came in, man, it was his first year. It was just a roller coaster. It was so up and down, trying to figure
Yep.
the right pieces in. I mean, but you got sophomore year, you played a little bit more.
Hmm.
Played and then you played with an incredible player. Now in the G League,
T Brown.
Brown,
I
who
used to love going at Terrell, bro. That was fun. Like obviously circumstances were a little bit different than what I hoped for, but it was fun. Going to practice and just knowing like that, like Terrell just has a chip on his shoulder.
yeah.
Um, Relentless, and I rock with people like that. Especially as a player growing up. Like I was like, yo, I like that. Like, let's go.
No, and he was shoot. I think he led. I think he was almost at. I don't know how much he averaged, but I know
He
he.
was getting them up.
Yeah,
He was,
I know he had some high scoring games. I know he led NWAC in scoring, and it's just then he ended up going to Seattle U, uh,
yeah.
and then obviously UW. But yeah, man, just playing with somebody like that, and then just trying to figure out, like, man, your guys' season. I don't think you guys made. Did you guys make the tournament?
Probably not. We had a terrible year. It was
Okay,
it was not pretty by any means. I think we
okay,
started turning things around towards the end, but um there was just a lot of like just shifts, like even, I went there in hopes to play with Yegor and stuff ended up happening. He didn't finish out the season.
mm,
I think we had injuries. We implemented a whole new offense like midway through the year. It was just a lot of like test, trial and error, and we started finding a little bit of a groove at the end, but it just wasn't flowing. And like the way we were trying to execute was just like trying to put Terrell in like a good spot to get some up. And so that can only get you so far. There's some other pieces that you need on the floor to just kind of open things up for a guy like him.
Yeah,
But he still did his thing, man. Like he was relentless. Like he was one of those guys that yeah, he was getting shots up, but he was getting to the free throw line a lot.
yeah,
He was putting his body on the line. Like he uh he was going hard, man. And so that's not an easy role to play.
yeah. No, for sure. I just remember because, Tone and OG Brady went to Bellevue with Coach Brady.
Yeah,
I pretty much like hung him up. I was like, I'm done coaching.
yeah,
My daughter was 1. Marcus was shoot 9. So I was like, man, I needed to be or 9 going on 10. He was 2. Layla was 1 going on 2. So I need to be around more. So I stopped, but I still followed, and I think I
yeah.
pulled up to one of your games. I think when you guys played Bellevue, and I think we had talked there about like, man, what's next? And so
Hmm.
talk about like, play out your sophomore year,
Yeah.
get your AA degree. What was recruiting like, and how did you kind of transitioning now is like talk about your recruitment because it's such a unique situation because you didn't play a lot or as much as you'd hope, but you're still trying to get to the next level. What was the
Hmm.
process like into getting to your school, and how did you end up picking North Central, the D3?
Yeah. Yeah. It was difficult. It wasn't easy. Just because the film or whatever I had to show for it, it was kind of like, all right, like not really convinced, do you want to come to an open gym? Like, do you want to try out for a walk-on spot? Like, there was a lot of just like, we don't know what you can do. Um, we know you can shoot the ball, but like, what else can you do? I was an undersized guard. I didn't really even start putting on weight until my junior, senior year. Um, so it was difficult, but like, having someone like you in my corner that was like advocating for me and reaching out to schools and like kind of walking me through the process and helping me out, like I knew something was going to happen. And so I had actually like I was talking to a few NAI schools. I was pretty sold on going down to California. I had some buddies that lived out there, so like being able to hoop and then like have some of the boys that you grew up with like in the vicinity of where you're at, like kind of felt comfortable. And so I like verbally committed to, it wasn't West Cliff, it was Cal Miramar. I think they were just getting a program rolling or rejuvenating a program that they had, and I was pretty sold on going there. And I came back, and one of my AAU teammates was playing at AJ McGrew. You probably might
Yeah,
have heard of him.
sure.
Kennedy Catholic guy. He was playing out of school in Minnesota, North Central, and he had called me randomly one day and was like, "Yo, like you got to come visit, like check it out." And I was like, "Minnesota, like that's the last place I want to go on earth, right next to Antarctica."
Right.
Like, I just it just didn't appeal to me, and um, so I ended up going out there for a visit just to like I was really going out there to just tap in with him and just see how he's been doing, and obviously like play fives and check out the school, but I wasn't too sold on it. And I came back, and well, actually before that, one of my AAU coaches, what his cousin was the president at the university. And so the first day I got there, I get out of the car, and I was like on like that main street at North Central, and someone was driving by, and they roll down the window and they're like, "Dolan," and throw the hazards on, pulls over, and gets out of the car. And it was like the president of the university, Scott Hagan. And he comes up to me and he was like, "Dolan, Dolan, so happy to have you here." Like, and I get it. That's like their job. Um, but to see what like, traffic maneuvers he made just to get out of the car, just to come say what up to me, like it was intentional. And I was like, it left, that impact on me where I was like, yo, like even if basketball doesn't work out, like I kind of want to be more like this dude, like
Yeah.
just a genuine, intentional person. And so I go back and there was just something in my spirit that was just like, um, go to North Central. It was a Christian college, like super uncomfortable scenario for me. Like I didn't grow up going to private school. Was always like, uh, you know, a man of God and, practicing my faith, but like going to a Christian college, like I don't know about that, bro. And
Yeah. Yeah.
it just like was something in my spirit that was just like, you got to go. And so I decommitted from that school in Cali and was like, well, looks like I'm going to Minnesota with a one-way ticket and let's see what happens.
And shit, you played 2 years there. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
graduated, played 2 years. Again,
Hmm.
not the not the you know the the last years of competitive basketball that you had hoped,
Not at
but
all.
the the crazy part is like you played more at North Central than you did at Shoreline.
Mm,
And that's kind of unheard of because usually guys are like doing their thing out at the at the CC or JC level, and then they transfer. Then it's like, oh damn, my role is going to get reduced, because there's so many good players. But you actually ended up,
yeah.
I was just going over your bio. You did average shit about 15 minutes a game. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's more than what you had at Shoreline, which in the grand scheme of things, it just makes it's like a testament to the hard work and dedication that you put in, and that you got to that level and you got to see the floor and play a role and man, just being able to be out there and be in a flow and so that was really dope to see, just tracking my guys who move on to the next level, and just tapping in with you, just seeing like it was cool. It was cool to see, man. I was really happy
Yeah.
for you. I know, obviously, everyone wants to play more. Everyone
Right.
wants to get more
Everyone
shots,
wants to be the guy,
right?
you
Everyone
know?
wants to like get in their bag and all that shit.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
you were really like for college basketball, you're a success story, and that's the dope part about it, man. You were able to play college basketball for 4 years, redshirt 1 year for your growth and development, and then you ended up playing basketball and getting a degree. I mean, you can't go wrong with that. So,
Hmm.
that's that, I've said it too many times, but hats off to you, bro. I'm
Thank you, man.
proud
Thank
because
you.
just that journey and growth has just been so dope to see. So like, North Central, you're at North Central. When did you realize like starting to think about what was next? Because, obviously I'm sure I wasn't sure what you had aspirations for afterwards. So when did you start to figure out like, all right, man, that's your last season's kind of winding down, or maybe you thought about it prior. When did you start to figure out what was next?
Yeah, I was super fortunate just because when I was playing at North Central, um, obviously the goal is to go play pro overseas, right? Like when making the NBA is out of the picture, like I'll go play overseas, like that's the goal. And I was super fortunate enough while I was at North Central, I met my mentor Chauncey Hollingsworth. He started Hoops and Christ,
Yeah.
probably like 15, 20 years ago or something like that. He's been doing it for a while. And he came and spoke at my school my first semester I was out there. And I was like, Hoops and Christ, like I've never heard of like basketball and faith being in like the same conversation. or the same sentence, like um, I was like, man, and he was a very intentional dude. I remember I went up to him after he was done speaking, and I was like, yo, like I've had some like experience in basketball training, like back in, Mill Creek, I would work out some guys, like Ben Olson. I would work
Yeah,
Ben
yeah, yeah.
out. Like,
Yeah.
shout out to Marshall because he was working us out and sacrificing a ton of time for us. So I had some experience with basketball training, and I was like, yo, this is something like, when that ball stops bouncing, like I would love to just be a part of the process. I didn't really have like big aspirations of being like a head coach.
Mhm.
Um, but I was like a grinder, like I love the process. Um, I love the work. And so, um, getting introduced to Chauncey, like the first thing he said, he was like, yo, like shoot me a message on Instagram, like let's tap in. And, being from where I'm from, like someone's like, yo, hit me up on Instagram. It's like, I'm not trying to hand out my number, like, kind of the runaround. And a month goes by and he came to one of my games. And after the game, he was like, yo, why didn't you message me on Instagram? Like, I had like forgot low key,
Mhm.
like forgot that he said, I was like, whoa, like this dude's intentional, And so I was like, what am I doing? Like, I need to be around this dude. And so, man, it just started like my junior year. I would just ask him, like, yo, you need a rebounder today? Like, I know you're training. Like, I'm done at practice. I'm done with practice at this time. Like, I can come rebound. And it just started by just serving and just trying to be around and just like be the glue guy, trying to, provide value any way that I possibly could. And, you know, then, my senior year came around and I had been around Hoops and Christ and helping out for a while. And I remember he would just like throw me in the fire, like, we'd come into a gym and there'd be like 30, 40 kids. And he's like, all right, Dylan, like you got ball handling today, and I'm just like, when you go from like training like two, three kids and then you're like in the gym with, 30 or 40 kids, like there's a
Wow.
little bit of like, dang, like I gotta come with it today. And so he would just throw me in the fire, like, and I think it was amazing because like what better opportunity for you to learn than to just be immersed in it, and you find your way. And so I started to develop like a passion for like that. And like I remember there was one day I walked in the gym and he was working somebody out and Paige Beckers had walked in. And
Oh.
if you guys don't know who Paige Beckers is, like she's doing her thing and she's playing in the W now. And he was like, all right, Dylan, like you got a shooting workout with Paige. And I was like, what? Like, okay, I guess we're doing shooting,
Right.
and so just opportunities like that where I was like, I just started to develop a passion for it. And I always had a passion for like being in the gym and grinding in the process. But I think it started to develop into like just serving people. As much as it was about basketball, it started to turn into just like, how can I meet this person where they're at, whether they're the worst player in the gym or the best player in the gym? How can I serve this person? And how can I, impact their life? And so then my senior year was pandemic. So I had a handful of time to just like think about what I'm gonna do with my life.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And at the time, going overseas and like trying to climb the ladder and chase this dream of playing professional basketball and being isolated from my family and my loved ones and my girlfriend at the time that is now my wife, like it just didn't sound like something I wanted to pursue, being away from all that, especially when I have this passion of like, you know, helping people achieve their goals and training. And so that was kind of like, that was kind of the birth of my clothing brand, The Look Within, was like I really had time to just like stop and I didn't have a game, I didn't have a practice to go to. It was just Dolan and like spending time with like, yo, what do I like? What do I want to do with my life? Like, and so yeah, that's kind of how like that. that training stuff came around, and at the time I was doing part-time training. And I was doing valet. I was working valet downtown. I would work from like 7 p.m. until 3 a.m. because I was working some of the restaurants and clubs downtown. Got to drive a lot of nice whips. And then I would wake up and then I would train. And then after training, I would go to valet. And then it got to a point where I was like, I kind of want to like go all in. And I remember walking into, my valet boss's office, and I was like, yo, I know I'm super like thankful for the opportunity that you gave me to be able to like learn some skills and drive nice whips. And it really taught me how to communicate and talk to anybody. But I was like, yo, I think this basketball training is something I want to like try to like go all in on. And he was like, all right, well, I'm here when, like when you come back. And I was like, man, I want to make sure like I don't come back.
Yeah,
Like it was one of those things where I was
bro.
like, I got to make sure I don't come back. And so then I went full time, and I've been doing it for full time for like 6, almost 7 years now.
Man, that's so dope, man. Just to see
Yeah,
how that all kind of evolved. So I'll get more into the training, then we'll talk about, your brand.
yeah.
So, with training, you said you've been doing it 6, 7 years, man. How does it work for you to build your clientele list? Because, now, you said you were working out kids, and then you work out some guys, back home in the creek, Mill Creek.
Yeah.
How does it start? Because now you're training college players, you're training high school players, you're training pros,
hmm
overseas pros. Shit, I think NBA. I think I
Yeah,
seen. Yeah,
NBA, WNBA.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
I've been super fortunate, man. And it really started with just like Chauncey had built up a product and a brand that was so reputable. Like, how he started, he walked so I could run, like he was training, $20 a session for 2.5 hours. Like, he was serving and grinding, and he did that for 10 plus years until I came around. And he had other trainers that came through, but kind of just like branched off and did their own thing. And I'll never forget, like, before I went to JUCO, Marshall Massengale, he played at Jackson. Him and his dad told me, like, one thing that you can separate yourself and understand is just like it's a game of attrition. And so like who can be, more success or more consistent, like who can be the most consistent for the longest amount of time. And that was kind of a mindset that I always brought into whatever I was doing. And so when I came to basketball training, Chauncey had a clientele, and he was kind of getting to a spot where he was pursuing real estate and kind of seeing what's next for him. And because I had been around so much, like I was annoying the crap out of him. Like I would FaceTime him like when I first wake up, like, yo, where are we at today? And he's like, bro, like, I'm sure there was times where he's like, bro, this dude's calling me again, like, or this dude. But now we're best friends to this day. And I just served, and I was just around enough to where like these players got comfortable with me. And I got really good at what I was doing. And Chauncey was an amazing teacher, showed me like progressions and micro skills. And like um, I was able to be around some very like solid players and to learn a lot. Like I learned so much. So like when it came to like me building a clientele, like I had been around it. And you know I'm a talker, so I'm talking to everybody and building relationships. Like it just kind of like I didn't have to like really reach or like overextend myself. Like it just kind of came to me. And so um I was super fortunate, very, very fortunate, like, um, so yeah. And then when it came to like going back to the creek, like, you know, I think people had probably seen like what I was doing on Instagram or whatever. So, um, anytime I came back to the creek, like people are like, yo, let's get a workout in or,
Yeah,
so
man, that's dope, bro. So like when it, you know, one of the last things I want to ask about the training is, man, just picking your brain about it. So it's like, well, I've trained guys, but not like to the level you have. I've trained guys who play overseas in college and stuff. But are you like, do you have when you know you're about to train somebody, do you have, and it's like you're gonna get X amount of sessions. Let's say 5 days, you're gonna train over a period of like 2 weeks or something like that. Are you watching film of them and then kind of like, all right, what can I work on with him to, help elevate his game? Or do I fine tune the things that are going well and then just kind of tweaking a little bit of what needs to be worked on? Or how does I know every trainer is different and I don't
yeah.
right or wrong way. I mean,
Hmm.
when I did it, I was just more on like our weaknesses. Let's work on weaknesses, and then for half of the, let's say, 2 hour workout, half the time we're gonna work on weaknesses. The other half we're gonna just keep, repetition with the strengths. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
How would it go for you?
So it's kind of like identifying what are some areas of their game that they're really, really good at? Like what is their identity as a player? And then, how do we expand that role? Like, how do we just like maybe add one thing this off season or it's very like um, it's very simple, but like, as players get older, it's a little bit more difficult to just like add something, like at the pro level, it's like, okay, they're 3 and D. How do we, this offseason, how do we find ways to like make them a better passer? How do we like increase their shooting percentage by like 2 to 3, 5%? Like um how do we get better just a little bit, and like that's really it's hard to do when you become a pro is like finding ways to get better because like you've been doing what you've been doing for so long. Um, you know, like yeah, so I think yeah, just like knowing the player's game, knowing their identity, like, you know, um, and then finding ways to like get them a little bit better. And then, I'm super fortunate. Like a lot of the players that I train, all the players that I train, I get to pray over them, and so like developing like a relationship with them where like how do we become a better basketball player, but also like how do we stay in a good spot like when we're off the court, like navigating being a basketball player. How do I serve them in that way too? And how do I make sure that today's going to be a tough workout, but like, how do we stay refreshed when we leave the gym? How do we feel better about ourselves when we're leaving and when we're coming in? So, and it kind of varies. Like with the younger kids, like it's pretty standard. And so, yeah, so that's kind of how I go about it.
Huh? No, that's dope, bro. And I got just one thing about your brand and then some quick hitters, and I'll let you get going, man. I appreciate you, taking time out of your day to kind of tell your story, let people
No
know,
doubt, man.
let people know your story, man. So your brand, the look within, we talked about at the top, man, mental health
Yeah.
advocate. How did you come about um developing this brand and your message and um so how did this all come about?
Yeah, it was like during the pandemic when I had a lot of time to just be with my thoughts and like be with myself. And for the first time in like probably my whole life since I started playing basketball, it was like you don't have another game, like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
unless I joined like the local Lifetime men's league, like I didn't have a game coming up. And so that was kind of weird. And I didn't know what I wanted to do. I knew I was destined for like something great, like that was kind of my mindset growing up. Like, you know, whether I'm the last person on the bench or whatever, like I uh I know I'm gonna do something great. Like something great's gonna happen, like the same mindset that we talked about, like showing up to practice, like I'm probably not gonna miss today. Um, that was kind of like, what I wanted to do. I wanted to impact lives and do something special. And, I had some friends that my brother, like we have people in our lives that struggle with mental health and
Sure, for sure.
I struggled with a little bit of that identity thing, being a basketball player and seeing what's next. And um, I kind of turned like that uncomfort or that pain or, whatever you want to call it, into purpose and just tried to like, hone in on something that I could, impact one person's day, and make someone feel like they're not alone. And so, God just gave me like a phrase one day, and it was just like, look within yourself. And like, it was something that I was like, man, this is like kind of what you got to do to like harness something better than what was, right? Like, you got to acknowledge where you're at and kind of set your eyes on where you want to go. And, whether you're having a bad day or a great day, like just acknowledging it, and I think as an athlete, so many times, like, from speaking from my experience, like as a shooter, it's like you don't even acknowledge your misses. Like you're so focused on the next shot going in and it's going in that like when things aren't going your way, you don't even acknowledge it. And so like as I became more of a human instead of a player, like I started to realize like, oh, that's not like super efficient to like be moving like that. And so like it just kind of like it helped me out, but then like I was able to kind of harness it and put it into, a brand. And you know, apparel was always something that I was like interested in growing up on, like Jordans and Nike SB. And you know so I wanted to like do something dope and kind of like spark that conversation of mental health and do it in like a dope way. So that's kind of how that brand came about. And I'll never forget like the first year I started it, I was working out one morning up at like this hill. It was like 7 in the morning, and I got to the top of the hill, and there was this dude that was setting up a camera, and I was like, "What are y'all doing?" Like, it was a big camera,
Hmm.
and they were like, "Oh, we work with the news channel, blah blah blah." And I was like, "Yeah, this is a nice view," because it was like a view of downtown Minneapolis. And the guy was like, "Yo, like that's a really dope hoodie. Like, where'd you get that?" And I was like, "What the heck? Like, this is my clothing brand. Like,
Hmm.
the Look Within." And he was like, "Oh, mental health. Like, that's dope, man. Like, mental health resonates with me, blah blah blah." And the reporter was right there, and he was like, "We got to get a story like this week." Like he was just like jacked about it and gave me his card. And I think it was like a few days later, I like get a call, and the guy was like, "Yo, can you be at the station in like 15, 20 minutes?" And I was like, yeah. Like, so I just like pulled up to the news station, and we did a little story, and didn't think anything of it. I thought I was going to go on like the blog or website or whatever. And I was on a flight. Uh, I think I was on a flight out to Seattle or coming back. And then I woke up because I was going to bed early, and I woke up and I had like all these like people were sending me texts like at the local bar out here in Minnesota, like, "Yo, you were on the TV," like, like it was
Oh,
cool. And the sales were jumping. And donated a portion of profits back to mental health like programs. And it was super dope. And it was just kind of like a reassurance of like, yo, you're doing something, like you're doing something dope. And uh,
man, yeah, bro. That's man, especially at this day and age now. Man, mental health is just being such a it's a thing that's more. more normalized now. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
it's just really something that, man, it's okay. It's okay to
Hmm.
not be okay, and it's okay to talk about it, and it's okay to branch out and reach out for help. And everybody's going through something. There's not one perfect person, and even the people who think you think have it all, they there's something going on with them. You know what I'm
They're
saying?
human.
So it's like, when I learned about it from you, and you had, gave me more details about it. Obviously, supported you and everything, and I just love it, man. So keep doing your thing with that, bro. And it's just that's I'm
Thank you,
super
man.
impressed, bro, and I'm super proud for not even so much the basketball. The basketball part is cool, but like what you're doing with that brand is dope, bro. So continue to keep it up. I just got a few quick hitters. First
Yeah,
thing that come to your mind.
yeah.
You don't have to go into in-depth detail about it, but quick hitters. Favorite hoop shoe all time.
Favorite hoop shoe. Definitely got to go with some Kobe's. If I was to like be very specific, Kobe fours or Kobe fives.
Okay, Kobe fours or Kobe fives. Okay, you've obviously played a lot of basketball in your life.
Mhm.
What is the toughest gym you've ever had to play in?
Toughest gym I ever had to play in.
I
I'd
love
say,
it.
I'd say, I feel like Lake Stevens had a harder gym. Um, maybe a Salvation Army. Salvation Army down in South Seattle.
Yeah, in the West. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so I'd probably have to go with those, either of those.
Okay. Uh, this is kind of a loaded question, but what's the most memorable game of your that you can think of that you've been a part of? Because you've been
I have
on
a
some
hand,
good teams, so
I
it's
have
like,
a I have a handful. Um, I have one game in my AAU career. I might have been like eighth grade. I came off the bench and I think I went like 7 for 8 from three in the second half.
okay,
And I didn't do anything that whole tournament. And I got like tournament MVP. Like
there you
ended up
go.
bringing us back from like a 20-point L to like winning. So that's one memorable game. And then probably like my district championship game my senior year. Um, Played pretty well. And then we ended up winning against Cascade on a game-winning shot at the buzzer in overtime, and I was the one that passed it to one of my guys for the shot. So that was pretty up there. Um, and then I had one game in at North Central where I hit a game winner, but probably like any of those games where it's like down to the wire at the end. I think there's nothing better than being a part of something like that.
Definitely. I thought you were gonna say the game when we were at Edmonton. I think we won by 20, and you took a layup at the end. And Coach Gray was not
Yo,
Coach Gray was not
oh,
happy with you,
oh
and
my gosh.
we
It
kind
was
of we
funny too, because I had like that mentality of like, bro, I'm getting like 2 minutes this game. Like, I'm gonna get mine.
yeah,
And yeah, at that point I wasn't thinking like etiquette or
yeah,
anything that
yeah,
you probably should be thinking, but I got it on the fast break, got the layup, and I thought I was gravy. And then after the game, like they were trying to square up and they were beefing, and I was like, dang, like I think I did something wrong.
right. We had to like, man, it's man, just we had to just try and squash it, bro. But that was a funny moment. Uh, all right,
uh,
a teammate uh that you love playing with. I know you play with hundreds of players probably in your career, man. Who's a teammate that stands out to you that you love playing with? It doesn't have to be your favorite, but one that you just really enjoyed.
Yeah, I got a few. Um, I got a few. I think a lot of obviously like playing with my boys at Jackson, like those were guys that I grew up with and played basketball with since I was in like fourth grade.
Right.
So there's no like camaraderie that you'll ever see like that for the rest of your career.
Yeah.
So that was kind of like unmatched there. And then when I got to college, oh man, guys like Drew, Dooley, Dana, um, guys that were kind of reaching down and like helping the next man up. Um, that's rare, you know. I think that's pretty rare for someone to like get outside of themselves and be like, nah, like you're that guy. You're not getting the opportunities that you're getting, but like don't ever forget like you're that guy.
Right.
Um, and then man, I really enjoyed playing with Terrell. Um, just from a standpoint of like competing. Like, there was days where like, he was decent, like, and we were going at it and stuff like that is fun because you look back on it and it was like, man, they actually cared.
Yeah.
They cared a lot enough to like hold me accountable. So, um, I don't know, I'm probably missing a few, but, um, I had some guys in North Central too that I still keep in touch with to this day. Um, so yeah, I named like probably 10 people, but
It's,
I'm
it's
super appreciative
hard.
of like all my teammates.
No, bro, it's cool, bro.
Yeah,
It's hard. It's a hard thing to be,
that's a tough question. That's
Yeah,
a tough
no, I
one.
know. That's why I
That's
always like asking my guests that. Last one, uh toughest player you had to guard. Not somebody you got caught on a switch
Mhm.
or whatever, you picked up in transition and you had to guard him. No, somebody you had to really like guard.
Um, hmm, bro, David Chris. Growing up, David Chris was that dude was a problem. Um, who else? Some guys, man. I wasn't matched up with him, but Marquise Chris was pretty tough too. I played against him down in San Fran.
Okay.
Oh, I'm tripping. Peyton Pritchard, bro. Peyton
Oh,
Pritchard was cold. Peyton Pritchard was an issue. I did not like playing against fast Oregon, bro, because it was a bunch of 6'6", 6'8". I'm in eighth grade, bro. And I'm like, all right, cool. I get to guard some of my size, Peyton Pritchard, and he's just physical, fast, and
yeah.
just better than everybody on the court. I'd probably had to put him at number one and D. Crisp at number two. But
Okay.
Pritchard was an issue, bro.
Man, it still is till this day, bro. So those are some good ones.
Hmm.
Some good ones. Well, man, Dolan, bro, I appreciate you taking the time to rap with me, talk about your journey. It's like I told you off camera, man. It's one that I'm so impressed by because you're living proof of what hard work and dedication will do if you just stick to it, man, and you just really just grind. And I tell you this all the time, bro, but I'm proud of you. I'm grateful to have coached you, and still like work with you and mentor you and all this stuff till this day. So,
Thank
um,
you. I can't thank you enough, Adam. And yeah, you've always been someone in my corner that supported me and always like reassured me and just like you're just a great dude, bro. And there's not many dudes out there like you and what you're doing with the podcast and everything. Like I love the fact that you're wanting to share people's stories and yeah, man. So for anyone that's watching this, just know that your life can change in a year
definitely,
and consistency and just being relentless can get you far, man.
definitely, bro. Well, I appreciate the words, man, and keep doing what you're doing. I'm gonna stay tapped in with you, man, and you guys go follow Dolan on his Instagram page. You guys tap in with the merch. I got a hoodie. I need to re-up some more, you know.
Yep, we got some new stuff dropping coming September, so I'll make sure I let you know ASAP.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. I'm gonna get some more. But yeah, man, Dolan, appreciate it, bro. It's always love from my side. You already know what it is with me, man. As our shoreline guys, I would like to say, man, these are lifetime contracts that we got. So I appreciate you, bro. So thank you.
Thank you, Adam.
Thank you, man. It's love.
And
All right,
thank you
y'all.
guys for watching what is it? Blacktop
BTST.
BTS. Thank you guys for watching BTST.
Yeah. BlackTop Smack Talk, man. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. We appreciate you. Adam here signing off. Love, peace, and blessings, y'all.